to the June 26th meeting of the Rotary Club of Louisville. I'm Lori Flannery, CEO of New Directions, president of this club for this one last meeting, and Paul Harris Fellow +1. Please silence your phones or turn them off for the duration of the meeting to respect the speakers and the program. I would like to call to the front Brett Corbin, Senior Vice President of R.W. Baird, to help us with our invocation today.
Thank you, Madam President. Sorry to see you go. Well, job well done during your time. All right, with everything going on in the world, I thought maybe some Zen thinking and prayer would be appropriate today. So with that, let us pray that all beings be free from suffering and its causes. Let us all be free from injury and live in safety. Let us recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in life and ourselves. And let us practice self-compassion, recognizing that everyone experiences suffering, and it's important to treat oneself with kindness and understanding. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Brett. That was lovely. Now I'd like to invite to the podium to help us with the pledge and the Rotary four-way test, Coy Still, Senior Pastor of Walnut Street Baptist Church.
Thank you, Madam President. Please join me now in pledging our allegiance to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And also, please join in reciting the four-way test. Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Coy. Now, Rotarians, it is time for you to introduce your guests. What you're going to want to do is line up to this microphone over here to my right, your left. Make sure you introduce yourself. Make sure you introduce yourself first, then the name of your guest, and their affiliation, if any. Guests, when you hear your name, please stand briefly so the club can put a name with a face. And I'm going to go ahead and start. I have two guests with me here today, and I would like you to stand and say their name. The first one is Ashley Carrick. Ashley is an executive at the Muhammad Ali Museum. Thank you, Ashley, for being here. Welcome. My other guest is Dion Greenfield, and she's an executive at DC-based NeighborWorks. She's from Kansas City, so welcome, Dion.
President Lori, I'm Steve Jester, retired pastor, and my guest today is Lily Carruthers. Lily is owner, operator of Sugartown Vintage, a vintage clothing store in Nulu. And Lily's a child of this community, and I met her first when she was 12 or 13 at the church I used to serve. So, welcome, Lily.
Hello, President Lori. My name is Bridget Johnson. I'm the incoming CEO for New Directions. My guest today is Letty Johnson, who is the president and founder for Gifted by Design, Leadership, Holistic Leadership. And well, please welcome Letty.
Welcome, Letty.
President Lori, my name is Nick Garner. I'm the lead soccer developer with the MITRE Corporation. My guest today is Emily Tarquin. She is the managing director of Actors Theatre Louisville and also a board member with me at the Louisville Library.
Welcome, Emily.
Good afternoon, President Lori. I have two guests myself. One is Savon Gray, who is with an extremely exciting company, Forecaster. He works there as an account executive.
Welcome, Savon.
Reverend Nicolette Rouse, Director of Public Relations with Jefferson Community Technical College.
Good afternoon, soon to be immediate past President Rotary. Our guest is Nadareca, the President of Healthcare Facilities, Kentucky, and also Senior Living.
Welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Joseph Yerby. I'm the owner of Anti-Burn Solutions, security consulting firm, and I have today my guest would be Chelsea Ellis. She is the owner of Thibeaux Asphalt.
Welcome. That's great. Thank you, Rotarians, for bringing these fabulous guests to us today. And I want to thank you guests for being here. Probably anything with air conditioning would be preferable to being outside on this June day, I guess. When you hear me ring the bell again, that's going to indicate that our meeting is over. And at that time, if you are a guest, if you'll please make your way over to the What is Rotary table for a very brief overview of our club and what Rotary is all about. We would very much appreciate that. So you can tell it's the What is Rotary table because it's the closest to the door, and there's actually a placard that's vertically on the table that says What is Rotary. Okay, we have a couple of Rotarians in the spotlight this week. We want to congratulate Whitney Austin and Adam Fields for being selected to the 2025 Leadership Kentucky class. We also want to congratulate Rotarian Barry Allen on his retirement that will be later this year. And I would also like to announce that I'm very pleased and honored that I will be stepping into Barry's shoes when he does retire, and that will be effective November 1st. So, very excited about that. Now I'd like to invite Jay Mallory, EVP Marketing and Business Development at ImageQuest, Chair of the Membership Development and Engagement Committee, and Paul Harasello to the podium to induct some new members.
Thank you, President Lori. Would Michael Bryant, Luke Fitzgerald, Jason Smith, and their sponsor, Matt Wrigley, please join me at the front. Bringing up the A-team today, are we? All right, fellow Rotarians, we seek to grow our membership so that we not only increase our impact and influence as a club, but also to extend the spirit of Rotary throughout our community. Today, it's my honor to induct 3 new members. You've been elected to membership in our club because we believe you possess qualities that will lead you to exemplify the true spirit of Rotary and our 4-way test. You have been admitted not only to the 13th largest Rotary club in the world, but to a global organization of over 45,000 clubs. So you are also welcome at any time. Rotary membership adds value to those who engage, whether by attending meetings, events, participating in service projects, or sharing your knowledge and talents as we live up the motto of service above self. So it is my honor to formally induct you as a member of the Rotary Club of Louisville. And Matt, I believe we got some pins here for you today. So let's learn a little bit about our new members. So here we go. So Michael Bryant serves as president of Pace Contracting, global-based general contracting company focusing on wastewater pump stations, streetscape, parks, industrial, try saying that, and building projects throughout the region. He's been with Pace for over 8 years in this role since January 2023. Holds a bachelor's and master's degree in mechanical engineering and MBA from the University of Louisville. Michael is a licensed professional engineer in the state of Kentucky, focused on social responsibility. Michael serves in a leadership role with a local scout troop, assists supporters in the museum with construction services, and serves on the Blueprint 502 board. He and his wife Laura live in St. Matthews with 2 children, Paul and Lydia. Paul graduated from St. X High School and will be attending Indiana University, Bloomington, fall 2025. While Lydia will be entering her junior year at Walden. So let's welcome Michael to our club. All right, Luke, hand up. Luke Fitzgerald serves as Chief Financial Officer at LPX Group, overseeing financial strategy, reporting and operational efficiency across the county's 4 operating subsidiaries, holds a Bachelor of Science in Accounting and Management, as well as a Master of Business Administration from Indiana University Southeast. Luke's a licensed CPA and a member of the Kentucky Society of CPAs. Actively engaged in community, Luke serves on the board of Junior Achievement in Kentuckiana and supports initiatives focused on education and workforce development. He and his wife Megan live in Rotary, Indiana, with their 3 children, Sam, 10, Sophia, 8, and Jack, 4. So join me in welcoming Luke to our club. And last but not least, there we go. Jason Schmidt currently serves as Vice President of Business Development for LPS Group. Jason earned his Master's in Engineering degree from the University of Louisville JV Speed School in Engineering in 2001. After several years in engineering, he transitioned to the construction industry to apply his design expertise more directly. He joined Louisville Paving and Construction in 2011 and has since contributed to key projects across Louisville. These include improvements on the University of Louisville campus, such as the Loft Apartments, the Belknap Street, improvements along Floyd Street, and the ULL Soccer Stadium parking lot. Other notable projects include Derby City Gaming on Poplar Road, several infrastructure upgrades at Muhammad Ali International Airport, Nectar's Courthouse and Distillery, and Galen College and Nursing. He is active in the Building Industry Association of Greater Louisville and is Vice President of the National Utility Contractors Association, where he's helping lead efforts to pass legislation that will require all underground utility operations in Kentucky to participate in Kentucky 811 call for your dig system. Outside of work, Jason has coached high school soccer. He's been married for 23 years and is the proud father of 2 boys. Welcome, Jason, to our club. As your children. Back to work.
Playing the part of the All right, well, welcome to the club, and I want to thank the recommendation that we have these members as part of our club. And I want to remind Rotarians, if you have somebody in your life who you think might be a good member of this club, you know, invite them to a lunch, introduce them to some Rotarians, let them know what our club is all about. I would now like to invite to the podium Ashley Brower, founder and CEO of MAX Strategic Communications, chair of the Speakers Committee, co-chair of the Leadership Fellows Committee, and Paul Harris-Fellow to recognize our Leadership Fellows.
Thank you, President Lurie. Today we celebrate one of our club's most inspiring initiatives, the Rotary Leadership Fellows Program. This program, launched in partnership with the Baylor Landrum family, is a 3-year leadership development experience for outstanding MBA graduates from the University of Louisville. It is designed to cultivate service-minded leaders through mentorship, community engagement, and deep involvement in Rotary. And most importantly, to keep our most promising young people here in Louisville by helping them grow roots. Before we recognize our fellows, I'd like to take a moment and thank the dedicated co-chairs of the program, Vernon Foster and Claire Arnold. Would you stand, please? Claire, I know you're here somewhere. There she is. For their tireless leadership and mentorship. Let's give them, we already gave them a round of applause. We're proud to recognize 2 graduating fellows today who have completed their 3-year journey with distinction. Antigone and Eric, would you please join me? Eric is the Director of Community Relations at the Parks Alliance of Louisville. A Louisville native raised by Soviet parents, Eric has led civic campaigns and championed public spaces, arts, and community engagement. His work ensures every Louisvillian has access to vibrant green spaces. Eric, please come forward for your reflection.
Thank you, Ashley. You know that feeling when you're waiting for someone and it's like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and they haven't shown up yet? So picture me at SDF at the arrival gate, clutching a soccer ball. I'm standing with Rick Harnett, Mary Ellen, Larry Sloan, other Rotarians. And the Rotarians have made their own welcome signs in English and in Arabic, and we're waiting. We're waiting for the Muhammad family, 11 of them, arriving to Louisville. And so the plane landed nearly an hour ago. We're looking at one another, and we're making some calls, but the thoughts keep racing in my mind. Are they lost? Can they communicate? But kind of what I'm really wondering is, what is it like to leave your home and survive a refugee camp, and then choose Louisville, Kentucky, walk into Louisville, Kentucky, to start completely over. And it hit me that at this airport 46 years ago, that's where my dad and his family came. And they were welcomed by really kind Louisvillians that gave them a leg up. When the Mohammeds finally appeared, smiling faces, that's when Rotary really clicked. It is about paying it forward and building community through service above self, right? I'll never forget that first few weeks of setting up their home, arranging furniture, doing some light landscaping, putting together an electric mower, which was very foreign to me, very foreign to them. And a highlight was taking them to a soccer game here at U of L. Some of the boys, it was the first American game, and coincidentally, it's U of L that brought me to Rotary. After being behind the screen and getting my MBA in the midst of the pandemic, it was being a Rotary Fellow that helped me come back into the Louisville community. Whether it was early mornings with Craig Mooney and the Honor Scholars, or International Service Committee meetings with legends like Susan Zepeda or Fred Cowan, you all taught me what the meaning of true servant leadership looks like. I'd especially like to thank my mentors, Kurt Jacobs and Jan Grayson, and to Ashley, to Claire, to Vernon, and my fellow fellows. Thank you all for your wisdom, your patience, and your encouragement. And before I wrap up my reflection, just if you allow me just one moment, I'd like to look forward. I'm not going to get political. But you turn on the news and what? We're at a crossroads as a country. But I, like all of you, believe in this city, right? Louisville is scrappy, Louisville is resilient, Louisville is creative, and we are compassionate. And at the organization that I'm at right now with Alice Bridges and Ginger right before me, we are doing something incredible. We are breathing new life into our long neglected park system and rebuilding the very foundation of what public health, what public safety, what community looks like when folks know each other and look out for each other. And when we invest in our parks, we multiply what's possible for every family. And together, I believe, I know, that we can keep Louisville a city worth calling home. And so, if you see me at the airport, if you see me at a luncheon, if you see me in the park, please stop me, say hello. I'd love to shake your hand. It's always great to meet a fellow Rotarian. Thank you.
Next, we have Antigone Mahani Kaskari. Antigone is an adjunct professor at UofL's College of Business, teaching data visualization and analytics. She's a passionate advocate for education, equity, and cross-cultural engagement. Her leadership has earned her numerous accolades, including being a Kentucky Colonel and being named to Louisville Business First 40 Under 40. Antigone, please share your reflection with us. Thank you.
So I want to begin by expressing just how truly thankful I am to have been selected for this prestigious fellowship. And I recognize how competitive this selective this program is, and I feel incredibly honored to have been given the chance to grow, learn, and serve alongside so many inspiring leaders sitting here today. At a time when I was focused on advancing my leadership journey, life intervened with a deeper calling and granted me the most meaningful title I will ever hold, Mom. Turns out, managing a team was a great practice for managing a tiny human who does not follow agendas. So navigating new motherhood while participating in the Rotary Leadership Fellows Program has been one of the most transformative chapters of my life. This dual journey has not only challenged me, but defined me. And I often had to bring my baby to numerous luncheons and meetings. And I'm deeply grateful to the local Rotary Club for the kindness and understanding in welcoming us. This experience has taught me to lead with deeper patience, greater empathy, and renewed purpose. Qualities I will carry with me into every space I serve. One of the greatest highlights of these 3 years has been my community work. I have cherished every moment of serving on the committee that awards scholarships for deserving students to study abroad, witnessing firsthand just how the access to global learning can open doors and transform lives. And equally rewarding has been my work with the committee supporting refugee families. As someone who personally understands the challenges and hopes that come with building a new life in a new country, it has been deeply meaningful for me to help other families find their footing, feel welcome, and thrive. This experience has been a full circle moment for me. Having spent many years in the refugee and immigrant field, returning to this realm through the Rotary lens has felt both natural and deeply rewarding. It really reminded me of the power of service, rooted in personal connection, and really reawakened that part of my purpose that continues to guide my leadership journey. But beyond the projects and service, what I value most is the people. Through this fellowship, I have met extraordinary fellows who have started as colleagues and have now become lifelong friends. And Joseph Peters. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to get everyone, but I appreciate him so much. We have learned from each other, encouraged each other, and shared stories and laughter that I will carry with me always. I owe a special thanks to my incredible mentor, Susan Thibeaux, whose wisdom, kindness, and encouragement have inspired me to keep pushing forward and lead with heart. As well as I want to thank Ashley Bauer for keeping me in check at times where I would forget to check my emails. So as I look forward to the future, I know the lessons, connections, memories from my time as a Rotary Fellow will continue to shape me, not only as a professional and a community leader, but as a mother, raising the next generation with the same values. Through this fellowship, I have grown in ways that have deepened my commitment to leading with impact, purpose, and intent. Whether I'm working on community initiatives and philanthropy, mentoring others, and simply showing up for my family, I'm proud to be part of this fellowship, this community, and this enduring legacy of a service above self. And in a world often shaped by conflict, our local acts of service are a powerful reminder that peace begins in our communities, and that ordinary people like us, working together, can create extraordinary change. Thank you.
Next, we are excited to welcome our 3 new fellows to the program. DeMarco and Heather, will you please come up here? We start with DeMarco Harris. He's the Community Engagement Manager at the Home of the Innocents, leading outreach and donor engagement for one of Louisville's most impactful nonprofits. He's also the founder of Worth the Words. That's a fun teaser. Yes. A nonprofit that focuses on providing at-risk youth with access to creative expression outlets that equip them to cope with the trauma while building transferable skills for their future. DeMarco is married to Tiffany and has 2-year-old Nadareca. Next we have, is Aaron next? He is in Portugal right now. Yes. He's the Director of Communications for Local Metro Government's Cabinet for Economic Development. And although we're sad he's not here with us, also a little jealous, he's in Portugal. He's also the co-creator with his fiancee of Dateless Blue, if anybody follows them. They promote local businesses and community pride. He's on the board of directors for YPAL and the Healthcare Financial Management Association Kentucky chapter, is in the Kentucky Society of CPAs, and is a live-in champ. Kevin Thompson, also a live-in champ, is the Associate Director of Academic Services for U of L Athletics, supporting student athletes in their academic and career success. In addition, Catherine has her own business. She co-teaches a class about working with student athletes and is developing a program around athletes transitioning out of sport. Catherine is a member of YPAL and will take the VP of Development post next week. She's Chief Operating Officer elect for the Junior League of Louisville, is a member of the Leadership Louisville Center, and is very involved in student athletics related and community organizations. So welcome to the Rotary Leadership Fellows community. I promise we're almost done here. We also want to acknowledge our 6 continuing fellows. We have 5 of them here today. Please stand. We have Tanya Augustine, Amalia Gomez Guerra, Danielle Lavender, Maggie Brock, Boo Smith, and Matthew Moulter, who is also traveling today. So we thank you for your continued commitment and leadership and service. And finally, we want to recognize the many mentors that we've had over the years. I think that is such an incredible part of the program. So if you have served as a mentor, would you raise your hand? No, there's more of that. Thank you. So if you haven't had a chance to connect with all of these next generation of leaders, please do so after. And you may be getting a phone call to your mentor in the future. I hope you will join us. So the program began in the 1990s and has always been about cultivating the next generation of servant leaders. But in recent years, it's undergone a complete transformation. While the mission remains the same, we've modernized the selection process, restructured the award distribution, and added clear accountability and objectives throughout the 3-year journey. At the heart of this transformation is Vernon Foster. It's now my honor to present one of the most meaningful recognitions our club offers, the Service Above Self Award to Vernon. This award is reserved for individuals whose dedication to Rotary and its core values goes above and beyond. Today we recognize someone who has not only upheld those values, but has helped redefine how we live them out through one of our most impactful programs. Vernon has taken full ownership of ensuring we select the best and brightest from the University of Louisville's MBA program. He is the first face of the fellowship, meeting one-on-one with every prospective candidate to assess not just their qualifications, but their commitment to staying and serving in Louisville. Vernon dedicates countless hours to this process. He hosts candidates for lunch, guides them through the application steps, and even opens his doors to host us and our committee for interviews. The entire selection process, from the first email to the final decision, is powered by Vernon's leadership, insight, and generosity of time. It's a rigorous process, and it works because of Vernon. His commitment to service above self has made our club stronger, our program more impactful, and our community better. Vernon is a 23-year Rotarian, a major donor, Paul Harris Fellow +2, a sustaining member, and the co-chair of the Leadership Fellows Committee. But more than that, he's a mentor, visionary, and a true servant leader. Vernon, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Louisville, it is my great honor to present to you the Service Above Self Award.
Congratulations to all of our leadership fellows. We love that you're part of that program, whether you're finishing up, coming in, or an existing member. And obviously, Vernon, I want to congratulate you. That is an award that suits you perfectly. So thank you for everything that you do to our club. We'll do one more round of applause. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite to the podium Gary Dryden, Vice President of Administration and Chief Financial Officer at Jefferson Community and Technical College. He's also a member of the Rotary Club Board of Directors. He's going to introduce today's speaker.
I just actually going to just for a brief moment while I introduce our outstanding speaker for today's program. Use my glasses first, okay. With more than 25 years of exemplary leadership and large-scale strategic healthcare initiatives, Nadareca Thibeaux brings a wealth of experience and expertise to her role as Executive Director of the Louisville Medical and Education District, or LOUMED. In this role, she leads the vision, planning, and implementation of efforts to enhance the 22-block area that houses the region's premier healthcare and higher education institutions, fostering a world-class environment with 16,000 employees, 10,000 students, and 1.5 million visitors annually. Nadareca spent most of her career at Norton Healthcare in various leadership positions, spanning revenue cycle, program management, information systems, clinical effectiveness, and design and construction, while navigating complex organizational challenges and driving transformative change. Prior to her career at Norton's, she served as operations manager for ambulatory services at the University of California, San Diego Medical Center. I don't know why you left that, where she works responsible for specialty clinics, including cardiology, infectious disease, family, and internal medicine and pulmonary medicine. Nadareca holds a bachelor's degree in business management and a master's degree in business administration and healthcare administration, in addition to certification as a project management professional from the Kentucky, Indiana chapter of the Project Management Institute. She also served on the board of the Kentucky Performing Arts Foundation. Beyond her professional endeavors, Nadareca enjoys reading, cooking, traveling, and spending time with her family, including her husband Sean and their two children, Maya and Nicholas. Please help me welcome to the podium Nadareca Thibeaux.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation and the opportunity to talk about something that I'm super passionate about, and that is Louisville, Kentucky, and the Medical and Education District. Just a little bit more about me. I am originally from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, small town in western Kentucky. Anybody from? Small town country girl. Came to Louisville in '92 as a student at the University of Louisville. And decided that my major was not what I was passionate about. I started out as a PR marketing major and realized I had a little bit of anxiety and hated to speak in front of people. All right, so I changed up a little bit and decided that I would stick my toe in healthcare and started my first real big girl job at University of Louisville Hospital. And then quickly realized this was my jam. Not on the clinical side, but on the operations side. I really enjoyed that. So, if I push it down a little bit, all right. So, started there and was there for 3 years, and I heard about this opportunity at Norton Healthcare and decided to take a leap and go into dive deeper into the business side, and ended up at Audubon Hospital, where I spent about 3 or 4 years until I was recruited into an area. What we call the corporate or system departments and project management. It was the first time that Norton Healthcare was going to create this project management institution, and I was a second employee. Brand new world for me, but it really is kind of how I got into this role. I spent 20 or 17 years there before I moved to California. I met Guy, And we ended up getting married and moved to Southern California, where I work at UCSC Medical Center, as he mentioned. But then a year into that, I got a call from Norton and said, hey, it was my previous boss. She said, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, what's up? And she said, well, your position is still open here, and we're getting ready to build the first hospital, and it's been built in Louisville for 30 years, and that was Norton Brownsboro Hospital. And she said that, you know, at the time I just found out we were expecting our first baby, and she said, don't you want to raise that baby back in Kentucky? Turns out I did. So I ended up coming back. That was in 2008, and really the rest is history. Until I ran into, well, actually until COVID, and I was connected to a person by the name of Riggs Lewis, who's here today. Riggs and I were put together on a project that was headed up by our CEO, Russ Cox, and to look at how we could do things in the community around what was happening socially here in the city. So we finished that project and kept in contact, and then I kind of disappeared and faded off and went and did something else in the organization. And about a year later, he calls me and he's like, hey, what are you doing? This has been a consistent kind of theme in my life. Like, well, what do you need? He's like, well, we're trying to do something here. We're gonna change the look and feel of this district. We've got to do something to clean it up. You know, it was facing a lot of challenges. And so it sounded great to me, and we went down this path, forging ahead of trying to create this district, which is now LOUMED. And that created a lot of synergies. We reached out to folks in the community that were in our neighborhood and felt like we were kind of dealing with some of the same issues. So we started with U of L Hospital. And I met with Ken Marshall, and he was totally on board with kind of forging this new thing with us. And then we reached out to JCTC, and before you know it, we had a 9-person board represented by folks from U of L, from Norton Healthcare, U of L Health, and JCTC. So we were off and running and super excited. So one of the things, can I hold it? So one of the things that I'm asked all the time when folks hear the name LOUMED is like, what is it? Is it a place or is it an organization? What do you do? So let me start off with answering that question. So LOUMED is a 22-city block district where all of the partner institutions or member institutions, and those names are at the bottom. That's why they're at the bottom, because they're our anchor for LOUMED, and really how we're able to run this organization. 22 blocks, and it also houses other supporting organizations like the Ronald McDonald House, Catholic Charities is in the district, but they're not necessarily part of our organization, although they are part of our community. We want to make sure that we collaborate with them and we keep them informed. We meet with them on a regular basis, and in fact, we've got some partnerships with Ronald McDonald House, and I talk all the time. We are looking at doing things collectively to kind of move things and change things in the district. So LOUMED is a 501c4 not-for-profit, soon to be a 501c3. As I mentioned, it's led by a board of executive leaders from the anchor institutions, and I'll put their pretty faces up. Gary is one of them. But when we first started, this looked a little different. Pretty much everyone is the same, but Bruce Lewis decided to go off and do something different, like start his own business, and so he is now a consulting member of our team. And then Tony Gansel was the dean at the time of the medical school. She has since retired, and Dr. Bumpus replaced her. So what are we about? What's our mission? Well, our mission is really simple. It's to create a vibrant, walkable, welcoming, and safe district where healthcare, education, research, workforce development, and community all intersect. Our vision, it's bold, and essentially it's to make Louisville a global hub for medical and education excellence in spaces that promote connection, community, collaboration, and sustainability.
All right, so what is LOUMED? We talked about it being a place. We talked about it being an organization. What are we doing? So to sum it up, the work that we're doing is called placemaking. That was a new term for me 3 years ago. But essentially, placemaking, in my mind, is the same as economic development. It's creating a space or spaces that are vibrant, that are inclusive, and that reflect the excellence of the institutions that operate in that district day to day. But it's not just about beautification. It's about safety, it's about identity, and it's about improving everyday experiences. A lot of the folks that come to the district on a day-to-day basis who are not just working there, but they're patients and their families that, are facing some of their worst days. Their baby's born there too, so that's exciting, but a lot of times it's people that are dealing with some things that are heavy and difficult to navigate. And when you come to a space, and you know this, if you guys have visited the district at any point in your life, it's a concrete jungle. It doesn't look like the work that's happening behind the walls in the institutions, and we want to change that. We want people to arrive at the district to feel like this is a space that people care about. This is a space that the city is proud of, and this is a space that I feel safe above all. Speaking of safe, so 3 years ago is when we became, 2023 is when we became, actually it was 2 years ago, a 501c4. And right out of the gate, we felt like it was important for us to understand and really validate what we thought people needed in the district, the folks that were working there and the people who were visiting. So we did a survey, and the feedback that we received was essentially what we thought we were going to get back. And the number one issue that people had concerned was safety. The other one was walkability. It was green spaces, lack of places to eat, and lack of connectivity. But safety is one of the things that we felt like we needed to address right away, right? I mean, safety, if you feel unsafe, then everything else really doesn't matter. So these partner institutions or member institutions decided that they would put their own money towards changing that for the folks in the district. And I'll take a step back and just kind of give you a little bit more about that. So we are privately funded. So these anchors here pay for the operation of this organization. Now we've got partnerships with the city. There are grant monies that we go out and we advocate for, but essentially my budget to operate comes from the membership dues that they pay every month. So I think that's a huge deal. And it says a lot about these organizations and how they feel about the community and the work that they provide. So why placemaking? What are the benefits? Why did we decide that this is something that needed to be done? Well, when you are in a space that doesn't feel like it is supported, that people don't care about it, people don't want to come, no matter what you're facing in life. We've got a cancer institute that's downtown, we've got the only children's hospital that's in our region there, and the message that we send to them is that it's good luck parking, good luck walking in, and really no welcoming faces. So what we decided to do was to invest in the ambassador program. Are you, show of hands of folks that know what the ambassador program is? Okay, so pretty much a lot of you have seen them or you understand what they are. So Partner Institutions invested, it was a $1 million investment to bring on board these ambassadors. Our Jonathan Sandman, who's here today, is the leader of our ambassador team. They are boots on the ground. They are our liaison to LMPD. They clean, they greet, they help with wayfinding. They've been a hit. The green truck is parked outside. He drove it here today, which I thought was so cute. But it's been an amazing thing for the folks in our district. We get tons and tons of feedback from folks who are both workers and students downtown, but also from our visitors. This is, hey, this is amazing. I'm so glad you guys have this. This is wonderful. So that was our very first big investment. So again, $1 million out of their pockets to support this. The other benefits for placemaking is that it supports the economic growth. So when you start to create spaces that are attractive, that look cared for, people start to notice that. And so our hope is that there will be businesses and folks that help to support our health and wellness and our education ecosystem, folks that will look at LOUMED and say, hey, well look, I think this is where I want to do my business. Or they may connect us with folks who want to be part of our district. It fosters innovation. So JCTC and U of L school, they both are training folks in the medical field. So U of L Health, our doctors, our nurses, our clinicians, and then the ancillary staff, our lab techs, our radiology technicians, are all within blocks of each other. So when you create this place, this specific energy and community, that fosters innovation. So there's research opportunities, there's workforce development collaborations that can happen and are happening. So it's really just creating the synergy and long-term sustainability. When you start building and growing and people start communicating and coming outside of those four walls that they've been working in, great things can happen. And then the improved community health and well-being. We're greater together. When JCTC is working with U of L School of Medicine, who's working with Norton Healthcare, who's working with U of L Health, we're going to gain synergies and things are going to start being a little less territorial and it'll be more team-oriented. We've already seen that. There's so many things in the pipeline right now along that line of work. So what else about LOUMED? So back when I told you I was herding cats and getting folks together to try to understand, what are we going to do? Who's going to be involved? We had an economist come in to look at the economics of this group of folks. So we wanted to understand, well, how many people are we talking about? What's our economic footprint? And here's a little bit about what we learned. There are 30,000 people just in the partner institutions that are in the district. That doesn't include any other businesses that are not part of what we call formally LOUMED, right? So that's Farm Government House cafeterias, Metro United Way. This is just for the member. So that's a small city. I mentioned I'm from Hopkinsville. I think when I was growing up, we might have had 30,000 people in this city limit. So that's a small little town. And then of that 30,000, I believe the number is 10,000. We're doing another economic study now, but 10,000 students. So it's a big deal. There's a lot of folks that are impacted by what's happening in this space, and then a lot of folks that are experiencing the district the way that I've experienced it and maybe you've experienced it when you visit. We have 1.5 billion visitors a year. How many people do you think come to Derby? Well, it ain't 1.5 million people. So, yeah, lots of eyes and bodies have been to our district. So there's a lot of exposure that we're getting, and some of it is not what, in the past, has not been what we wanted, right? So we've got some opportunity there. And then this is really what kind of stunned us. Talk about knowing who you are. We didn't. $1 million in payroll is what these institutions were providing or inputting into our economy a year. That translates to a certain amount of occupational tax dollars. And what historically had happened or not happened is that those dollars were not being put back into the district. So we were like, well, wait a minute, who do we need to talk to? Because that's a lot. And so we took that message and some of the other feedback that we got from the economic study, and we took it to our city council, we took it to our mayor, we took it to the state, and we started to just share our story and say, look, we are doing a lot here in this district and we'd love some support. Can we work together and partner together to improve the look and feel of the district? We want our nurses and our students and our administrators to feel safe when they come to work each day. We want them to be proud of the space that they're working in, and then we want our community to be proud. And they listen.
We talked a little bit already about the economic impact, so I won't go over that again, but I do want to talk about those partnerships with the city and the state. So when we took this story, our story or our pitch to them, and we talked about we want to make this an official district, and we've got some ideas. And what we thought was they'd be like, yeah, okay, sure, tell us what you. But at the time we were, Mayor Greenberg was about to. Well, it was the time before he got voted in. So we met with him, and I forget the guy's name that was running against him. Should remember. But anyway, we met with both of them, and they both were like, we're on board. But you know how that goes, right? So it's like, yeah, okay. Well, Mayor Greenberg gets in, we schedule a meeting with him, and he was all for it. I mean, I think for that first year, looking at it came out of his mouth every time he was in front of a microphone. And so that was important to us. We felt seen, and everyone knows how important it is to feel like, oh, he's listening, he heard what we needed, him to put his money where his mouth is, right? So we worked really hard to come up with an ask, like what is it that we want to do? So we took a look around the district, and one of the first things that we noticed, and by the way, I've worked downtown in the LOUMED district for 17 of the years that I've been in healthcare. And every day I would come in and park in the North Healthcare Pavilion and overlooked this building called the Community Correctional Facility. And I don't know why it never dawned on me to ask the question, why is there a correctional facility right in the middle of the district? But anyway, we got together, and that's one of the first things that we felt like needed to go away. We lobbied with the mayor and said, look, can you do something about this facility? We knew that it was a city-owned place, and thought that, this will be our first real kind of go at, like, trying to see if they would buy in. I knew he'd say no. I knew it, and I just knew it. But he didn't. He was like, what do you want to do with it? And then we were like, we're looking at each other like, what are we going to do with it? So, again, going back to the table to kind of think about what are some of the challenges that we have in the district. And one of them was the fact that it is a heat island. It's a concrete jungle. There's really not a place for folks to walk around, to relax, to woosah, and just kind of enjoy being outside. And everyone knows how important this is to be able to have some connection with nature. Eric, I'm piggybacking on what you said earlier. I mean, it's so important for us to, as a city, as a community, to invest in our parks. And so that's where we came up with LOUMED Commons. I'll show you the pictures. LOUMED Commons, we broke ground on it 2 weeks ago. And it is going to be open in the fall of this year. It's a 1 acre park that will have lots of green spaces, a lot of tree covering, native plants, places to sit, places to eat, places for community. Back here will be, we're calling it Food Truck Alley now. We're waiting on some corporation to say, hey, I would really like to have our name on that. But for now, it's Food Truck Alley, and we will have this program done every day of the week. So that answers some of the concerns around food accessibility. We have a children's area with a children's hospital right across the street. We thought that was important. Covered pavilion for events that's really going to be exciting, and it's sort of set up for daytime and nighttime events. So I'm looking forward to what that might look like. And then a kiosk here where folks can rent out if they want to sell cupcakes or whatever, then there's an opportunity for you to have some space there in the park. This is an aerial view of it, and we are looking so forward to that opening up in late fall. There's another big project that we just kicked off earlier this year, and it's the Chestnut Street corridor reimagination. So I would show you pictures, but I have not
shown my board yet. Our most recent thematic designs, we just got that this week, Gary. So I was like, I better not show that to anybody until my board takes a look at it. But I'll come back. It is 8 blocks on Chestnut Street. And Chestnut Street, if you're familiar with downtown, is what we call the spine of the district. It just happened to be the center main corridor that kind of cuts through LOUMED. And it also just happened to be the main connector for the partner institutions. So it starts at JCTC's campus, and then it ends on Clay Street. So the boundaries are to the west, 2nd Street, to south to Breckenridge, north to Liberty, and east to Clay Street. And Chestnut's right down the center. We are starting to do this project block by block. So we're starting at the block that's right adjacent to LOUMED Commons. So this is where the old jail was. The block that it's on between Floyd and Preston is where we will start the revitalization of Chestnut Street. So what that looks like is landscaping, trees, signage, lighting, better crosswalks, safer crosswalks. And it's essentially to create an identity. So when you turn down Chestnut Street, you'll see LOUMED banners waving high to let people know, hey, this is a place. It's just not buildings with people and nurses and doctors and students roaming through each. It's a place, and it has an intention. Let's see. I think that's pretty much all I have. High level, I want to open this up to questions now. I know there's probably a lot. I had 22 slides, guys, and I had to cut it back a little bit. And so I think that you guys might have several questions. So let's go ahead and jump into it. That's All right, thank you, Nadareca. So Rotarians, if you have any questions, please come to the microphone behind me and make sure you abide by the guidelines on the screen.
Hi, Susan Zepeda. Thank you for your remarks today. This is so needed. Over the short course that you've been around, you've already seen several changes of leaders of key institutions. What's your secret sauce to getting folks on board quickly to stay with the mission and keep it moving forward?
You know, I don't know that hey, I'm still trying to figure that out too, because I tell you, think about this. Norton Healthcare and U of L Health are competitors, right? But in this space of LOUMED, I think the secret sauce is just that we all have a shared experience, and we know that we're better together. So when you think about nurses and doctors and the workforce sort of struggle to get people to come to those roles now. Since COVID, we've seen a strong decline in those types of roles. People are going elsewhere. They've got a lot of different options now. So I think those are the two institutions that I was concerned about. Like, how are we going to, how am I, as the executive director, going to stay neutral and get these two institutions to work together? And I will tell you, it has been a blessing. In the space of LOUMED, our board meeting is tomorrow. Gary, you can testify. We're all pushing forward. We know that this is something that is needed. And it's all about community. It's about the people, and it's not about revenue and the bottom line when it comes to LOUMED. And we have to move quickly, because I don't know when that'll change, right? We need to get as much done collectively as possible. So the secret sauce is just, I think that there's this shared experience that needs to be rectified. And the good Lord, I mean, this has just been, it's been a blessing.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm Alice Bridges. I worked in what I think of as the Louisville Medical Center. I'll have to get that language, the new language down for decades. And I'm so excited about what you're doing to revitalize LOUMED. When I drive through, one of the problems that I see most visibly is people who are unhoused. I know that's a city problem, not necessarily just a LOUMED problem, but I wonder what you're doing to address that within the district. Great question, and I knew that would come up. So we do, and we are in an urban environment, so some of the things that we're dealing with are things that we're gonna deal with because we're in an urban environment, and it's a larger problem that LOUMED is never gonna have the answer for, which we could. But our ambassadors are really key to helping us with this. First of all, let me just say, there's a lot of terms that are used to identify what you just mentioned as unhoused people. And I think what I've learned in this role is that it's important to really understand what it is that we call it what it is. Jonathan can speak to this better than I, but a lot of what we have seen in our district really is not so much people who are just unhoused. It's people who, how do I say this, who have some other issues that have caused them to maybe be unhoused or that are not allowing them to meet requirements to enable them to be housed. Okay, so a lot of mental illness and a significant amount of drug usage. And I think that increase, we saw that increase late last year with tons and tons of needles in the district on the ground, and we're a health and education district. That's the problem. It's not just a problem because it's use, it's drug use, but it's a safety issue. We've got children that are, parents that are navigating with their children through the district. Needles and drug paraphernalia is something that is scary, and having to step over people. So the answer is, we partner with the city. We have an advisory council meeting. We had one last year that was, we work together and share our reports, the ambassadors. Every month we produce an ambassador operations report. It talks about and identifies the number of well checks that they've done. So we know if numbers are going up, if they're going down. We know how much trash we're picking up. We know what the trash looks like. Is it needles? Is it just general trash? Is it drug paraphernalia? So we communicate and we stay on top of it and really hold the city accountable and partner with them. We don't just say, hey, go fix it. We work with them to come up with some resolutions together. So it is not a us and them. It's how do we as a community work to improve this. And I think that's really how if we are ever able to fix this, is we're going to have to do it together, and it can't be just one group that's their responsibility.
All right, thank you so much, Nadareca, for everything that you and your team are doing. Thank you for bringing some of your team members with you here today. We've really enjoyed hearing from you here at the Rotary Club. We do want to have you come back as you continue in your phases of what you're doing to improve this really, really vital and important part of our community. I think I can speak on behalf of all of us that we appreciate the fact that you all are working together across organization lines. It's very, very, very important. And because you can do a lot more, right? You have a lot more impact when you work across organizational lines. So kudos to all of you all. Can't wait to take my lunch there someday, right? Absolutely. Okay, Rotarians, so we are not going to be meeting this time next week because of the July 4th federal holiday. We will be meeting on July 10th, so 2 weeks from now. That will be our ceremonial transition for leadership for our club. So that will happen on July 10th. If you're going to be at that meeting, you will need to register before noon on July 7th, or you could go ahead and do that by using the QR code on the screen before you leave today. Because I don't know about you, but 2 weeks in the summer seems like a month, and I probably wouldn't remember to do it. But see you in 2 weeks. Yes, please make your way to the What is Rotary meeting. If you have any time whatsoever, we'll try to make it as brief as possible as you leave. I hope everybody stays hydrated as we are navigating, hopefully, the end of this heat wave, and we are adjourned.